Okay, sit yourself onto your left and come into a good cross-legged position. Oh, I haven't put my microphone on, just give me a second. I'll do that now. I think that's changed. Can you hear me better? Do I sound more clear? Yeah, okay, right. Just sit yourself in cross legs, just have a little wriggle about. Hold onto your knees, the image will clear in a moment. It's just the sun is in the lens. Hold onto your knees, elevate the heart area up to the ceiling and draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Look down at the floor, look at something that isn't moving. Focus on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Keep your eyes still on the floor ahead of you, still in the sockets. And observe as you fill your lungs from the bottom to the top and empty them from the top to the bottom. Bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together. Lengthen from your armpits into your elbows. And with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. Focus on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Fill in your lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying them from the top to the bottom. Just listening to the sound of the inhalation and the sound of the exhalation. Listen to the sound of the breath as you inhale and the sound of the breath as you exhale. Observing how the sound is different. How the sound of the in-breath typically originates at the front of the nostrils. The sound of the out-breath has a softer sound and originates at the back of the throat. With an exhalation, draw your chin forwards and down to make contact with the chest. Lift your chest to consciously make contact with the chin. Focus on continuing to fill the lungs and empty them. And spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude. Gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area. And then gently release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. Raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open. Just look forwards, look directly forwards for a moment, keeping your eyes still in the sockets. Let the eyes become soft in the sockets, but keep them fixed on a spot that doesn't move. Observe the breath at the same time, but try not to disturb the position of the eyes. Hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest, elevate the heart area upwards, draw in your shoulders down, take a deep inhalation, and then again, without moving the eyes in the socket, so like you're kind of just scanning the camera across the room, if you like, just turn to the right side. Obviously your eyes will move a little, but again, keep them still. Draw the abdomen across, the ribs across, the shoulders across, but soften the neck. Observe how your body responds to the pose, whether it resists it or whether it welcomes it, or a combination of the two. Consciously roll onto the front edge of the seat bone, pulling on that right knee so that you can roll onto the front edge of the seat bones, pressing the back hand into the block or the cushion or the floor to maintain that position on the front edge of the seat bones. Feel that there is even balance at the seat bones. Or have you rolled over to the right side? If you feel that there's imbalance at the seat bones, then adjust the position of the torso between the two hips. Again, just maintaining that stillness of the eyes. Come back to the center. Again, just maintaining stillness of the eyeballs if you can. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the left. Again, just maintaining the stillness of your eyes. Drawing your abdomen across, your ribs and your shoulders, observing on the inside a level of resistance or freedom. Just listen to the pose. So that doesn't imply, of course, that the pose makes sounds. There shouldn't be kind of audible creaking. Maybe there is a little bit, but it's listening to the physical sensation of the pose, being observant to the feelings on the inside that the pose evokes. And then come back to the center. Just soften your eyes a little. Just don't be so worried about keeping the eyes dead rigid in the sockets. But observe, perhaps from keeping your eyes still in the sockets, maybe your mind feels a little quieter. Come off the lift and just sit yourself onto your heels. Just allow the body to just really rest into the floor. Just have a little wriggle into the hips. Try and get the outer buttock into the inner heel. Make sure you're in a good straight line with your mat. And consciously press your shins into the mat. Press the shin bones into the shin skin so that the thighs activate. Lift the bottom of the abdomen to the middle of the abdomen to the top of the abdomen. Lift the diaphragm area up to the collarbone, keeping your shoulders down, and then maintaining that connection between the seat bones and the heels if you possibly can. Bring your hands forwards, but don't drop your head. Keep your head lifted initially. So press the hands into the floor, stamp the seat bones down. If at this stage you can't keep the seat bones down, then put a folded blanket between the seat bones and the heels. Press the hands into the floor and lift the abdomen consciously from the bottom of the abdomen to the top. Keep the head lifted, stretch forwards, lifting from the front, from the bottom of the abdomen to the top. Keep coming forwards, keeping the seat bones down, and then bring the forehead down. Aiming to feel that the seat bones maintain connection with the heels. So that is a feeling that you can hear through the sensation of the pose. Sometimes it helps to just grip the sides of the mat, push the hands away, and then really sit back down to the heels firmly. So that it's a little bit of a full stop in some ways, but it really does give you a grounding. So grip the sides of the mat and then push the mat away from the body. Push the mat away and feel that you can really sit firmly down on the heel. So feel that your heels are in contact with the seat bones. Listen to the breath. Maybe let go of the mat and just stretch the hands out as you would normally, but see if you can maintain that level of connection between the seat bones and the heel. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. If you feel that you lose that connection, then go back to gripping the sides of the mat. Holding onto the edges of the mat like you want to kind of tear it apart a little bit. Pressing down into the seat bone. And then just bring your arms to the sides of the body in the traditional child's pose. If it becomes too heavy on your head, then extend consciously from the shoulders into the fingertips, just to redistribute the weight. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Stretch your arms away, just have another stretch, just feel how your lower back really opens up from the stretch. And then come up onto your knees, turn your toes under, and then push yourself up into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Tighten the kneecaps. Tighten the kneecaps. Lift the fronts of the thighs up towards the top of the leg. Turn the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Again, like we did with Adho Mukha Svanasana, grip the sides of the mat. So the palms aren't flat, but the heels of the hands will be on the floor. And then pushing the hands away from the feet, lift the seat bones a little higher. It's a different feeling, but it's not as nice in the hands. But it's a different type of feeling in the arms and the shoulders. So gripping the sides of the mat just stops the hands from sliding. It brings firmness. Turn the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Draw the abdomen towards the spine to protect the lumbar. Breathe into both lungs evenly. Filling the lungs from the bottom to the top. And then step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. And then bring your feet as wide apart as the mat. Have a couple of blocks for your hands for half uttanasana. So a couple of blocks. And then have your feet as wide apart as your mat. Again, referring back to the feeling of the pose, the feeling of the feet. Look down, make sure that your feet, your toes are in line with each other. And then hit the heels out so that your heels are touching the edge of the mat. So you can feel that without seeing. Feel that the little toe is touching the edge of the mat so you can feel it without looking with your eyes. You can see it through the feeling of the pose. Tighten your kneecaps, turn the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards. Again, lift the abdomen, the bottom of the abdomen up to the middle of the abdomen, up to the top of the abdomen. Diaphragm to the collarbone. Keep the head lifted as you hinge at the hips, back with a straight back. And then reach down and find the blocks. So just at this stage, adjust your feet. Feel whether the heel is on the edge of the mat or if it's kind of slipped inwards. If it slips in, away from the edge of the mat, then it reduces the space in the hips. So make sure that the heels are on the edge of the mat, that the little toes are on the edge of the mat. Then look down and your big toes should be substantially closer together than your heels. Tighten the kneecaps. Lift the fronts of the thighs from the kneecap up into the hip. Spend a moment extending the spine forwards and observing the balance of action. Listen to the breath. Focusing on inhalations and exhalations. If you can go down lower, then do, but if you start to lose the connection of the pose, if the legs start leaning forwards, if you start rounding your back and bending your knees, then go back to the higher level so that you can correct all of those things. Because we want straight legs, we want a straight spine, we want legs that lift. A spine that projects away from the legs. Weight in your heels. So hit your legs back so that there is weight in the heels. Bring your hands into your hips. Come up into a standing position, bending your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into Tadasana. So just be in Tadasana. Listen to the breath. Focus on how the feet connect to the floor. Again, just feeling how they connect to the floor. Feel the underside of the foot in contact with the floor. The big toes and the heels together. Tighten the kneecaps, tighten the thighs, and consciously turn the fronts of your thighs inwards. Push the inner knees away from each other. Lift the inner knees up towards the groin. Lift the lower abdomen to the upper abdomen, to the diaphragm, to the collarbone. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Tuck the tailbone in without disturbing the legs. Keep your eyes still in the sockets, filling the lungs from the bottom to the top. And emptying your lungs from the top to the bottom. Bring your arms out nice and wide, in towards your chest, and then step or jump your feet nice and wide. Turn the left toes in, the right leg and foot all the way out. Just bring your hands onto your hips for a second. So yesterday, we were pushing this back foot into the wall. And then as you come over, you kick that back foot into the wall, and then you maintain this, you get much better length into the spine. So you can go to the wall and push that foot into the wall just to get that feeling of firmness if you weren't here yesterday. But if you were here yesterday and you did that action, then I want you to see if you can restate that action without the wall there. So feel that you're pushing that outer edge of the foot into the wall. And then as you come over, feel how that translates into the spine. Keep coming over, and then reach down. You might not go down as low as normal, but it means that you're working more evenly. Draw the abdomen up towards the ceiling. And then reach up. Reach to the ceiling. Keep that back leg really firm, keeping the outer edge of that back foot firmly down on the floor. Turning both legs from the inside out, from the big toe side of the thigh to the little toe side of the thigh. Turn the front of the thigh outwards. So particularly on the front leg, the right leg, but do it on the left leg as well so that you can keep that outer edge firmly down. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Reach up with the top hand, come back to the center, and then swap your feet around. Turn the right toes in, the left leg and foot all the way out. And again, just bring your hands onto your hips. Really focus on pushing this foot into an imaginary wall. Feel that there's a wall there and you kick in that leg into the wall. Tighten the kneecaps on both legs and turn both legs from the inside out. Keep your right hand on your hip as you reach over, keeping this side of the torso long as you do. Keep pushing that foot really hard into the wall, pushing the imaginary heel into the wall. Well, the heel isn't imaginary, that's real, isn't it? But the wall is imaginary. Stuck imaginary in the wrong place. Turn the abdomen to the ceiling, reach up, look up. Observe how the pose permits really clear sinuses. I was reading an article yesterday about how to clear out your sinuses, and it was just loads of chemicals that you shove up your nose. Of course, they all work, but this, I think, is the most effective natural way of clearing out the sinuses. Come back to the center, bring the feet parallel, and then step or jump your feet back together. So just coming back into Tadasana, just feel that you can press the feet, the inner edge of the feet together, spread the toes, lift up into the chest. Observe your energy. Observe how your energy has changed. Listen to the breath. Okay, we're going to do padangusthasana. So padangusthasana is where we reach down and get hold of our big toes. Not everyone can do that. So if you can't, then you get a belt and then you hook the big toe into the belt on both feet like this. And then once you've got that, let me show you sideways, you just come forwards with a straight back as far as you can. But you know, there's going to be restrictions probably, so just as low down as you can. But we don't want this. We want straight legs and a straight back. So just as far down as you can using the belt. Have the feet about hip width apart. You can go slightly wider if you know that you can't quite touch your toes, but just about go a little wider, otherwise hip width apart. And turn your toes consciously inwards. Look down at your feet, make sure that the toes are in line with each other and that the big toes are closer together than your heels. And then consciously turn the fronts of the legs inwards, tighten the kneecaps, bring the hands onto the hips. Now you can come into this with your arms raised up like this, coming forwards this way, keeping forwards, and then get hold of the big toes. But in my experience, that just makes people do this. So they drop the hands first, and then you round your back on the way down. And it's quite strong on your back as well. I think it's better, or it's easier, or more comfortable, especially if you've got a bad back, to come down with the hands on the hips like we do in Uttanasana, which is the same action. Coming forward, lengthening forwards, keeping the legs straight, keeping the head lifted, driving down with the heart area, not with the head. Lengthening that abdomen away from the diaphragm region, and this time you come further than halfway. And then you reach down and put the index finger and the middle finger underneath the big toe, and then you wrap the thumb around the outside of the big toe. So the first stage is just to orientate yourself, to hit the legs back so that your weight is in your heels, to tighten the kneecaps, to turn the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards so that the backs of the thighs broaden outwards from the inside out, lifting the seat bones and projecting the chin and the chest forwards. Have a tug of war with your big toes, stamp them down, try and rip them up like you're trying to rip a nail out of the floor. If you can, with a straight back, you can bend your elbows out to the side, drawing the body in, keeping the head lifted, keeping the heart area lifted, keeping lifting from the abdomen to the diaphragm, to the collarbone, to the chin. So we don't need to come forwards any more than this first stage. But if you do bend the elbows out to the side, drawing the body along the legs, drawing the body through the legs, then you can, but not at the expense of rounding the back or bending the knees, keeping the back straight as you come down, keeping the chin driving its way down to the floor. Well, that's if you're bringing the body into the legs, drawing the chin away from the chest. Either way, that's probably a better description. Okay, release your hands, just come into half Uttanasana. And then bring your hands into your hips, bend your knees on the way up, and then come forwards, come up into a standing position. And then come into Tadasana, not dog down. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, tightening the kneecaps. Listening to the breath. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate breaths. So, whichever stage of that pose you are at, it's always working with a consciousness that, it can be quite strong for your back. So, if you felt that there was a kind of tension in your back that you were kind of fighting against, then don't fight against it, just come up further. We're going to do padangusthasana. This is the next stage, and it might be a stage too far for you, so I'll just show you. So you're going to come forward again, keeping the back straight, we're hinging entirely at the hips. Lengthen here. And then you bring your hands underneath your feet. So the sole of the foot in the palm of the hand. And then we work to lift the seat bones again, projecting the chin and the chest away. So this isn't for everyone, especially if you've got a bad back. This is much too strong for you if that's the case. So you can do a version of the pose with a folded blanket, and you bring the fronts of your feet onto the folded blanket, and then you can just use the belt underneath your toes just like you did last time, or if it felt really strong for your back last time, then you can just do it this way. And just come forwards as much as you can, keeping your back straight. Or you can do something to padangusthasana again. But this version with the folded blanket underneath the feet, it's really nice. It stretches out the calves. It's a good feeling. So if you feel that it's strong for your back, you can just do dog down as well instead. Turn your toes in, lift up into the chest, tighten the kneecaps. Turn the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards. That action is really important because it loosens the hips. It gives the hips space to kind of move in the body. Come forwards, hinging at the hips, keeping the head lifted, lengthening from the abdomen to the diaphragm to the collarbone to the chin. Keep coming forwards, keep coming forwards. So beyond where we come for uttanasana, and then release the hands, and then try and put the hands underneath the feet. So the palm of the hand connected to the sole of the foot. And then maybe hit the heels out a little further apart because sometimes they sneak together. Tighten the kneecaps. Lift the fronts of the thighs up towards the top of the leg. Turn the fronts of the thighs consciously inwards so that the backs of the thighs feel like they broaden outwards. When they broaden outwards, you can pick up the seat bones away from the backs of the thighs and project into the front chest more evenly. So that's the first stage. So don't try and pull yourself into the body. Just try and get those legs to activate so that the seat bones can lift away from the backs of the thighs, projecting into the chin and the chest. Aiming for a straight back. If you've got a straight back at this stage, then you can bend your elbows out to the sides. And again, the same thing. We're lengthening the chin away from the chest. We're not coming forwards with the heart with the head. We're coming forwards with the heart area. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Just being conscious of your back. So I like this for my back. But if you've got a bad back, it can feel too strong. You've got to really activate your legs in order to protect your back. Okay, release your hands, come back to the center, projecting the chin and the chest forwards in half uttanasana. And then walk your hands to the end of your mat. Bend your knees if you need to, or keep them straight if you can. Have your hands shoulder width apart. Step your feet hip width apart. And then come back up into dog down. Press in the palms into the floor. Tightening the kneecaps, lifting the fronts of the thighs up to the top of the leg, pushing the fronts of the thighs through to the backs of the thighs. Turning the fronts of the thighs inwards so that the heels separate. So it's the same action in the legs as it is in padangusthasana and padahastasana. Lengthen the tops of the thighs as far away from the hands as you can, as far away from the armpits as you can. Okay, and then gently come down onto your knees. Sit back on your heels. And just observe your energy. Observe how you have lifted your energy. Maybe you felt a little sluggish at the beginning of the session. Maybe now you feel like you have lengthened and brought to life the energy that was latently inside the muscles. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Okay. Sit directly onto the mat and then get the belt. So you might want to sit on a folded blanket, and when you sit on the floor, directly on the floor, Sometimes that's very difficult to lift the chest, especially if you're really activating your legs. It becomes more like this, where you kind of sink and the shoulder blades push outwards. If that's the case, then sit on a folded blanket. But if you can roll onto the front edge of the seat bones without any additional assistance, then do that. Have the feet, let's have the feet hip width apart, get the belt, and then throw the belt around the feet. So we'll start with the feet hip width apart. It just gives us a bit more space. And it's also more similar to Uttanasana legs, into the legs that we have been doing in all of those standing forward bends. So put the belt around the ball joint of the feet, and then using that belt, try and roll onto the front edge of the seat bones a little more. Tighten the kneecaps, press the fronts of the thighs into the backs of the thighs. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards, like we were doing in those standing forward bends. Now these seated forward bends can be really strong for your back. So, just be really mindful of coming forwards. Come forwards because it feels like your body is capable of it, not because the mind wants it to. So if these are too strong, then just stay at this stage, just working to draw onto the front edge of the seat bones, almost like you're plugging the lumbar spine in, like you're sticking it into a socket. Lift the abdomen to the lower abdomen, to the upper abdomen, to the diaphragm, to the collarbone, to the chin. So just find that space within the pose, activating the legs like you're in Uttanasana, lengthening the spine like we're in padangusthasana. And then perhaps lengthen forwards just an inch or two. And then just be really conscious that you're on the front edge of the seat bones, lifting the abdomen, lifting the chest, just coming forwards a little bit at a time. If you can get hold of the feet, then do. But never losing that extension of the spine. If you feel that the lumbar starts to push outwards rather than suck inwards, if the shoulder blades push outwards rather than press towards the front chest, then you've gone too far. If you can reach around your feet, then you can bend your elbows out to the sides. You could always put your hands, the palms of your hands in the soles of the feet, coming forward. So it's padahastasana again. Activate the legs like you were doing in padahastasana. Lift up into the chest. If you can bend your elbows out to the side, then do. So it's padahastasana, but as a seated position. Keep the head lifted. Try not to drop the head. So cat, I can see your head dropping down. Keep it lifted. Keep it lifted. Keep driving forwards with the chin. Okay, and then gently come back to the center. Just observe the quietness that comes over the brain from coming out of a forward bend. And then just bring your legs into swastikasana. Just come into cross legs. Just basic cross legs. Even if you can do half padmasana, come into cross legs. Again, sitting on a lift if you need to. I want you to just hold on to onto your knees and consciously roll yourself onto the front edge of the seat bones. Lift the lower abdomen up to the middle of the abdomen, up to the upper abdomen, towards the diaphragm. Lift the diaphragm to the collarbone. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Draw your chin forwards and down to make contact with your chest. So we've got Jalandhara Bandha. And then incorporate Mula Bandha. You draw the anal sphincter upwards towards the belly button, towards the diaphragm region. So Mula Bandha and Jalandhara Bandha are energy locks. And then you You can close your eyes or keep your eyes open. Just keep them still in the sockets if they're open. And then just focus on filling the lungs from the bottom to the top. Emptying them from the top to the bottom. Focusing specifically on the in-breath, allowing the lungs to, the energy of the breath to overflow from the top of the lungs and into the arms and into the chest and into the legs. Breathing evenly into both lungs, maintaining mula bandha. It's quite easy to forget. So if you maintain it, then you hold on to the energy of the breath. Communing with the universal energy that surrounds us, that enters the body through the nostrils. So we convert that energy into energy for the body, into prana. Bringing lightness, positivity, into the physical body and the mind, but mainly into the physical body. The mind comes later. Okay, release Mula Bandha, release Jalandhara Bandha, and then raise your head. Just observe how just that simple breathing fills the body with energy. Just cross the legs the kind of unnatural way. So again, just normal swastikasana, staying in normal swastikasana. Observe when you cross your legs the kind of unnatural way, maybe it feels a bit weird at the hips. So you might have to just move the buttock flesh just to accommodate that, just to make levelness of the seat bones. Hold on to your knees, lift up into the heart area, almost like the hips the torso wants to leave the hips behind. And then turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across. Your abdomen and your ribs and your shoulders, just keeping the neck soft, keeping your eyes still in the sockets. Just observe how the how the pose feels. I'm always around the wrong way around, but observe how the pose feels from the inside. Does it feel different to how it felt at the beginning? Come back to the center, hold onto your knees, and then turn to the left. Again, just observing the difference in the feeling of the pose it might not necessarily feel better because we were sitting on a lift last time, but it might demonstrate what sitting on the lift does for us. Maybe it does feel better. Just observe it. Just allow the body to follow the breath. Okay, come back to the centre. And then just for a couple of moments, we're just going to come down onto the floor, pull the feet in towards the body, bring your head down onto the floor. Have a block handy. So we can do setubandha. So if you're not doing setubandha, you can do viparita, karani. Otherwise, pull the feet close to the seat bones, lift the tailbone up off the floor, gather the shoulder blades consciously together so that you can really lift the chest. Bring the block into the sacrum tailbone region, and then hold onto the edges of the mat like you want to tear it apart like we were doing earlier on. Gather the shoulder blades so you're right on the tops of the shoulders. And then either stay with the legs bent, or if it feels like it might be okay for your back, you can straighten one leg, bring it back, straighten the other leg, bring it back. If that feels like it'll be okay for your back, then slide both heels along the mat. Lengthen yourself out. But if that's too strong for your back, then just stay with the knees bent. Listen to the breath. Keep the legs straight, keep the collarbone broad, keep the shoulder blades gathering so that you're on the tops of the shoulders. Feel the broadness of the pelvic region, of the abdomen, of the chest. And then just bend your knees, bring your feet flat back onto the floor. And then gently turn the tailbone in. Lift the seat bones, remove the block, adjust your shoulders so that they come flat onto the floor. And then pull your knees in towards the chest, just giving yourself just the gentlest of massages on the spine. You could get hold of the outside edge of the foot in the happy baby pose, just lengthening down into the tailbone region, just having a little rock from side to side, just opening up the pelvis, opening up the inner groin region, just massaging your back into the floor. And then straighten your legs. And then we're going to finish, rather than in Shavasana, in traditional Shavasana, we're going to come onto our front. If laying on your front isn't for you, then just do normal Shavasana. Just lay on your back. You have your elbows out to the side, just one hand on top of the other, and then rest your forehead onto the back of your hands. And then just release into the floor. So it's a bit like the restorative surfboard pose. But what's nice about this is that after you've done poses that kind of feel challenging for the back, laying on the front like this really gives you an opportunity to just soften the back. So just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Let the body release consciously into the floor, letting go of the muscles of the arms and the legs. Let the body sink into the ground. So the gentle pressure on the forehead helps to quieten the brain. Feeling the lungs from the bottom to the top, letting the body relax into the floor with the out breath. Observe that feeling of irrepressible lightness that radiates from the bones and into the muscles. Perhaps it feels different, but it's definitely there. Like ether radiating from the bones. Filling the muscles with positive energy, radiating into the organs. Okay, when you're ready, just lift your head, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, push yourself up into a seated position. Just for a moment or two, just sit back on your heels. Just observe the energy that you have released through your practice. And then just sit in cross legs in half padangusthasana or swastikasana. You can sit on a lift if need be. Make sure you feel level at the seat bones. Bring your hands into namaste. Push the palms firmly together, lengthening from the armpits into the elbows. Draw in the breath in through the nose and down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy. And then draw your chin forwards and down to make contact with the chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside. And send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Bring the tip of the index finger together with the tip of the thumb. A gesture of wisdom, physical intelligence and peacefulness that we can carry with us into our day as an intention. Peacefulness, wisdom and physical intelligence. Raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you have really lifted your energy. You've given yourself lots of good, stretchy energy to put into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.